What's up, guys? Wednesday, so it was a tempo run day. It was a nice challenging day. Tempo section went really well. Warm up went really well. Cool down was a bit of a struggle today. I don't know exactly why that is. I did just adjust my heart rates based on the adjustment or the correction in my my resting heart rate. Yeah, that's exactly right. So my resting heart rate when I started like exercising and getting the tracker that tracks it, the Garmin Phoenix, it was in the 50s, the upper 50s, and now it's really in the upper 40s. So that's quite a different change. And I do a lot of zone 2 training. So zone 2 is it basically is a reference of a heart rate zone to be in. When I do the tempo run, it's irrelevant of zone 2, so I push a little bit harder. Actually, with as hard as I pushed in the tempo section, it could potentially be a threshold run, so it's just a little bit faster today. I was really pushing the challenge because I feel pretty good. I feel pretty strong. Outside of that, some of it can be very mentally frustrating to have to run slower or to choose to run slower, I guess I should say. And to keep that pace. It's really about the self-control and remembering the long-term goal, right? Slow runs and easy runs, so to speak, are not always that interesting or that exciting. And in fact, they sometimes can be very demotivating if you really sit and think about it. And in a number of factors, I think that could be a very critical piece to what can get in your way or what can slow you down. As a corollary to this, I want to talk about procrastination because I'm the king at procrastination, and I've kind of had some success recently with a very stupid little tip, or a very simple little tip, I guess I should say. Stupid is probably a harsh judge of it. But the slow runs, it's all about kind of being humble and understanding. And the way that I do this, or the way that I maintain the ability to kind of stick in this zone that is not that interesting and can be demotivating, is to create or flip the challenge, right? So the challenge isn't about pushing myself as hard as I can. The challenge is about the self-control of staying in that zone, of controlling my pace and controlling the effort to maintain zone 2. So similarly, in a sense, back when I was lifting weights, it's the idea of not progressing the weight too quickly and really getting to a point where you get that mind-muscle connection very strong. So that way you're reaping the maximum benefit out of every exercise that you do, every set you do, and every rep you do. And that meant that I necessarily, in the short term, I wasn't lifting as much weight, though I was lifting lower weights. I didn't get to put up big numbers, right, from a weight perspective. But if you've ever lifted weights, that's a pretty big deal, right? The ego check is very strong, very challenging. It's very hard to do that. To go in and maybe put what would seem like lightweight on a bar and then focus it through 10, 12 reps instead of what I had been used to, which is doing 5x5s. But I did reap a lot of results in the 6 or so months that I was doing weight training and focusing a little bit more on hypertrophy, really, and I guess general fitness. And cat's just back there scratching, so apologies for that. But the idea that I have relative to procrastination, or what I've been finding successful, is because what I'll do is I could spend all day thinking about a task and really waiting to start it, right? And the task could be an hour-long task. It could be a run. On the weekends, I end up running usually later in the afternoon, trying to push that a little bit further forward. But the challenge I face is that I'm a pretty significant procrastinator. And really, I think the more that I allow myself to think about whatever it is that I'm procrastinating on, and man, I need to do that, or man, I'm going to do this then. Thinking and planning the task is the procrastination, right, for me. And so, at a certain point, I just make the decision to go do it. It's not about thinking and planning. It's not about doing it at 4 o'clock, right? Because what I'll do, I don't know if this is what anybody else does, but I'll be like, I'm going to run at 1, then I'm going to run at 2, then I'm going to run at 3. I'll run at 4. I'll run at 5. I'll be like, man, I'm going to run before dark. And before you know it, half my run's in the dark. So changing that up a little bit is understanding is like when I get here and I know I got some things that I want to do throughout a day or I want to accomplish in any given time frame, some of those things I just got to start doing them. Stop thinking about it. I take the first little action and I just let it roll. So for running, like maybe I change in my running clothes, put on my shoes, right? And then I'm about pretty much going to get out the door. Make sure it's loaded in my watch, do all the stuff right at the beginning of what I would do for a run, no matter when it's going to happen. And that just pushes me over the edge, right? That gets me out the door and I'm running. If it's writing or if it's a video like this, like it's just setting it up. It's getting started, going through those motions. It just like stop thinking about doing it. Stop planning the doing it and just doing it. And it's been a change for me. Like I think I've been very successful both at work and at home in getting stuff done kind of more efficiently, more effectively than ever before. So I think there's a couple takeaways there, right? The first being is like sometimes you can flip the challenge, right? So it's not about pushing yourself as hard as you can go from an intensity standpoint or a volume standpoint, but in a different goal. So mind-muscle connection with weights or zone 2 training with running or really whatever it might be that allows you to make compounding progress, right? That allows you to reap more out of future training and or future efforts, future work. I think that's really important to think about as a benefit. And like procrastination, talking about that and understanding like maybe we get stuck in this thinking and planning phase and we just got to get into that do phase. And you know, behind all that, like maybe that's a skill in of itself is shortcutting your thinking and planning phase. We're getting so recognizing the appropriate and functional level of planning and thinking about a task, preparation, if you will, to then get it going, right? The better you get at doing that, shortcutting that, or decreasing the time and the amount of energy that it takes to do that, maybe the better you get at doing stuff. Maybe the worse your procrastination gets. It's just a little bit of a theory I have now. And I think that's what I got for today. So I appreciate y'all. Have a great day. Be safe.